Yeah, another wild Open Cup night at PPL where there's always a delay of some kind. Um, Thank you to the fans for sticking with us. I thought they really pushed us. Being down a man from the 25th minute on is never an easy task, but they kept us going. There was a couple moments there we could have gone down 2-0 and it would have been game over probably, but the fans stayed with us and our players pushed very hard. Again, you can talk about DC played their second group, this and that, but we went through a lot of adversity tonight. Again, to play shorthanded from the 25th minute is very challenging. Their team, credit to Benny, they're winners. They have a bunch of winners on the field. They're a team that first group, second group, a mix of guys. They know how to win games, and they have consistency, and they look the same every game. That's something we're striving for. I thought our group took a big step tonight, and in a lot of ways, it's the most proud I am since I've been the head coach, because games like this bring groups together, and it's a good timing to go into a break, get a little rest, get some fresh legs back, and then obviously get some injured guys back. And I thought the effort that a lot of guys put in, being called upon now in our last 10 games, if you quickly look at it, it's we're 6-3-1. So again, while we haven't done it in a sexy way, 6-3-1 is 6-3-1. So it's a positive thing in your last 10 games. So very happy for the group. I thought they deserved the victory. Guys that came off the bench really helped us. I thought Fabinho really brought it. Ayuk had a great game from start to finish, really putting them, making them backpedal, going at them, and a lot of times it looked like we had a lot of life in it and created a lot of chances being down a man, which I was proud of.
Okay. Jim, was that were we looking at some kind of false nine or something out there after the substitution?
Yeah, it wasn't my choice, but when your star striker goes out, there's a couple things we could have done. I could have sacrificed somebody and thrown on Antoine at that point. It was just so early to burn a sub. On a night where you have to at least consider in the back deep part of your mind the possibility of 120 minutes with three subs. So we decided to let that group ride it, and actually, to their credit, with Chaco in that false nine, he actually did a good job. I thought he got on the ball a lot. He played a lot of good through balls. The ball he plays, Shane and in behind, is world class. The ball he plays, the ball that gets played to Ayuk is another great one that Andrew somehow unlucky hits both posts. When that happened, you think it's going to be one of those nights where it's just not going to go. But credit to the guys, they kept pushing. But yeah, the false nine was not by plan, but more by personnel and the moment in the game when you look up at the clock and it's at the 25th minute. To burn a sub then would have been setting us up at halftime to already be down a sub, and then also with the down a man, it becomes very challenging. So the guys on the field sorted it out. I give full credit to them. They solved some issues. We did give up the goal right away, which was disappointing, but they kind of fell into a good groove and started to take some chances.
Jim, what explanation did you get on the red?
Listen, again, it's a mistake by the referee, for sure. I mean, I think they all know it. I don't get – it wasn't a contentious game. I mean, it wasn't heated. There wasn't like 5 tackles that you'd say that's a dirty tackle. In fact, we were in the locker room for the past 30 minutes. So we literally stepped back on the field, and now CJ goes for one with Birnbaum, and I actually think Birnbaum and him both get a piece of each other. He talks to both of them. He calls the foul on CJ. You could argue it's a no call, and maybe it's a foul on Birnbaum, to be honest. And then the next one, he's very quick to go to the red, and I just think in soccer now it's becoming too easy to get kicked out of a game. That's kind of the simplest way I can put it. There's a million different variables that go into it, but he doesn't extend the elbow. He jumps as high as he can. There's nothing malicious. I think it's a mistake by the referee. Mistakes happen. I understand that, but I think when they go back and look at it, they would agree that it's not a straight red.
They said it was an elbow. Is that?
I didn't get a true explanation. I just asked for consistency, because a guy two plays before they two guys go up and challenge, and I just think it was too quick of a decision. I mean, you can talk to your linesmen, you can talk to different people, and I think that they made a mistake in that one and made it a hard night for us.
So you obviously know Ben Olsen well, and you know what a competitor he is.
Yeah.
Were you surprised that he made no effort to help his fullbacks and let your wingers kind of tear him up 1v1 all night?
Oh, I think he's given his guys that he believes in a chance in a big game. Like that's a real game to give some of those young players in the wide spots a chance. And I think young players, you can talk about wanting to be in the lineup or this and that, but once the game starts and the whistle blows and you're out there as a young player, it takes time to get the legs to do it. You've seen our players go through it with Ayuk and Pfeffer and building that base of fitness where now you can see Ayuk is still able to go now at the 90th. He can push, but we did think that with they had some young, inexperienced guys that had never been through a 90-minute battle at a tempo like that, that it might catch up with them. They played well on the night too. They created a lot of chances. They could have easily have won the game, but it's one of those back and forth games where we come out on top.
Jim, much like Saturday, you get crazy weather, crazy situations.
Yeah.
How tough is it to go into the locker room and come back out 45 minutes later?
Yeah, it's never easy. I'm not a rah-rah guy in terms of speeches and that kind of thing, but I did warn them, from the before we went out the first time. Yes, there are some inexperienced younger guys that Ben's put out on the field for DC, but if you underestimate them, you will embarrass yourself. They get paid just like anybody else. They're professionals and they're looking to make a mark. In some ways, it can be trickier than some of the familiar faces that you're used to, because they do things that you haven't seen yet, and there's not a lot of tape on a lot of their guys, so it's difficult. But to come in, 14 minutes into a game, shut down, and then have the guys sit around in the locker room. They have the TV on, they're watching games. They try to keep a loose atmosphere, but when they do warm up and you step back on the field, the switch has to go off in your head, and the good pros have that. I won't say everybody has it down to a science. You can see some of our guys, it took a little while to get going again. But mentality-wise, as a good pro, you need to have that kind of switch in your head where you can turn it down and turn it back up quickly. It's a challenging situation, though. It's unique to our game. It tends to happen a lot in this competition at this stadium, though, which is can be frustrating.
Can you talk a little bit about Maidana? He's really seemed to up his
Yeah.
energy and his fitness on the field. He's
Yeah.
covering a lot more ground. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Agreed. Yeah, Chaco would be a guy that I'd put in the category of he's a slow starter. I'd say almost like a boxer who kind of feels his way through the first couple of rounds. He sees where guys are coming from, where the space will be. And his legs get a little stronger as the game goes on. We asked him to do something unique to him, so there was a lot more running tonight where he's kind of up there by himself. And to his credit, he put in a lot of the dirty runs, probably too many, where he's running 80 yards and they have four guys and they're just passing around him. We're trying to tell him to just, try to force it one way. But he put in a great shift. All the guys over the past, 10 games where we've been going, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday on this one. It builds up on you. And listen, I didn't make a lot of changes, and I called upon guys to do it over and over again, because health-wise, we didn't have a ton of depth at a ton of spots, and Chaco has been a guy who's given us tons of energy and more fitness and better fitness in running.
Jim, that's an unusual sub when you bring on Fabinho and
Uh-huh.
then Wenger. What are you telling him in that situation in playing without anyone up top?
Richie Marquez had a little hip flexor, so we actually were considering, sliding Shea in and finding a way to get Fabinho on the field, just because he gives you a dynamic guy out there on the left that could get service into the box, and he'll run at defenders. He can wrong foot you. So Fabinho is a guy that we wanted to get into the game. When you're down a man, it's always trickier to manipulate things because somebody has to come out. And I thought Andrew started to fatigue a little bit. I thought he put in a lot of running. The wide guys, when you're playing with 9 men, are going to do a lot of dirty running. Andrew did that, so we thought it was time to make the change. And yes, it was a little bit calculated in that, Fabinho does give you a little more defensive mindset, but can still get forward to the end line and get across. So the thinking there was, yes, on paper it looks like a defensive sub, but he's still a guy who can make a play and get you a goal, and he did.
You just mentioned Wenger. How do you deal with a player who's going through the patch he is right now? I mean, his luck is to hit 2 posts with a wide open goal. How do you deal with a player?
Yeah, and again, I'll keep standing up for Andrew in terms of the defensive effort he's putting in. I would say a lot of the reason Fabinho has had a great run of form is because Andrew's done a great job in front of him protecting him, and does a lot of the defensive dirty running that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. Yes, we all want him to score goals. He wants to score goals more than anybody. He wants to set up goals. For whatever reason right now, it's just not going his way. It's not bouncing his way. That tonight is a clear indication of that. I don't think if you tried 2,000 times you could pull that off and hit both posts like that and it not go in. It hit the inside of the post, goes straight across. The goalkeeper has no idea where it even is, and it pops out. But he's in the spot to make that play. He's still pushing. He's still running. He's a guy who gives you everything he has. Does good defensively on set pieces. He'll break out of it at some point. I think last year it was the Open Cup that broke him out. So the hope was maybe he could get going there. But again, he's still doing some of the things that don't show up on the stat sheet. So I'm still an Andrew Wenger. I believe in Andrew.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.